Welcome back to the Voracious Podcast family. And today's topic is going to be a serious topic. Today we're going to talk about how do we defend our children from school shootings. It's starting up again. I know you're concerned, and hopefully we're going to be able to come to some resolution or at least provide us with more information on how we can safeguard our kids. So now that we're here, let's jump into it. It says, what I'm about to talk to you about today is uncomfortable. It's necessary. Every time there's another school shooting, we hear the same thing. Thoughts and prayers. This is heartbreaking. We need to do better. And then nothing changes. Our children go back into the buildings where drills for active shooters are treated like fire drills. Parents drop their kids off with prayer in their heart. Teachers are expected, and educators and counselors are now expected to shield our children from potential danger. So today, I want to ask a real question. How do we actually defend our children from school shootings? Not politically, not emotionally, but realistically. Let's get into it. Part 1. The hard truth that we all avoid. Here's the truth most people don't want to say out loud. School shootings are not just about guns, they're about a breakdown. A breakdown in a mental health system, breakdown in family structures, breakdown in community accountability, breakdown in how we identify pain, isolation, rage early on. We only argue about laws after tragedy. We're already too late. Defense doesn't start at the school door. It starts years before. Part 2, how do we identify signs, early warning signs? Almost every school shooter knows warning signs. Isolation, obsession with violence, sudden behavioral changes, threats disguised as jokes, online post expressions, hopelessness of anger or fear. But here's the real problem. We've normalized ignoring red flags. Kids say that it's kind of weird. Kids will also say, he's probably just going through a phase. Some schools will even say, our hands are just tied. No, defense means taking discomfort seriously. We need systems where students can report concerns without being labeled snitches. Parents are educated on warning signs, and schools act before the violence and not after. Prevention is the first layer of defense. Part 3, mental health is not optional. I repeat, mental health is not optional. Let's be honest. We treat mental health like it's an accessory instead of an infrastructure. Schools are overwhelmed, counselors have hundreds of students, teachers are not trained to diagnose trauma, and many shooters are invisible until they are addressed about their behavior. Defending children means mandatory mental health screenings, accessible counseling without stigma, crisis intervention teams that respond immediately. Ignoring mental health doesn't make violence disappear, it incubates it. Part 4. This part is our responsibility as parents. This part is uncomfortable, but it's real. Defense starts at homes. Parents must know what their children are watching, posting, and consuming. Securing firearms properly, locked, unloaded, inaccessible. Take the threat seriously. Even when your child comes to you with these kind of weird concerns, you need to take their threats or their jokes seriously. Love doesn't mean denial. If your child is in pain, angry, or discomforted, that's not shame. That's a call to act. Part 5, the role of school drills beyond school lockdowns. And this is something Chris Rock pointed out. It says that we actually have the school shooter sitting in on the drills in which are being taught to our kids. How are we protecting them when we've yet to identify who the school shooter is? We've done all this work and all these studies with psychology and information that we have, but we've yet to identify these school shooters early on. But we can identify kids who are going to be suspended. We can identify kids who are not going to finish school because of lack of education. We can identify kids who are probably not going to go to college because of their parents weren't in college or their parents are less educated than others. But we don't have real reinforcement or real understanding of how we can identify these kids getting into these problems, shooting up our schools before it's too late. Part 5, the role of schools beyond lockdown drills. Lockdown drills teach kids how to hide, but defense is more than hiding. Schools need control entry points, trained security personnel, not just guards, but prevention and focused staff, clear communication systems during emergencies, threat assessment teams that include mental health professionals. Security is not fear, security is preparation. We protect our banks, we protect celebrities, we protect government buildings. Why don't we protect our children with the same seriousness? One of the other things I point out to my family here at the Voracious Podcast is that we don't even give our kids free school lunch. That's not even like a national thing. That shows you how much we don't value our children, is that our kids don't even have free school lunch, regardless of where you are on the wealth chart. If you're wealthy, middle class, poor, Free lunch should be a mandatory minimum for what our kids receive when they attend these taxpayer-funded schools, these public schools. Part 6, community accountability. Here's something we don't talk about enough. Shooters don't come from nowhere. They come from our communities. Neighbors notice changes, friends hear comments, online communities see warnings and posts. Defense means speaking up before blood is spilled. Community accountability looks like this: anonymous tip lines that are actually taken serious, partnerships between schools, families, and local agencies, church youth programs, mentors, and staying connected with our kids at the most foundational levels. When communities disconnect, violence finds a space to hide. It says part 4 here: media, social media, and copycat violence. We also need to find out about glorification. Every time a shooter's name is repeated, every time their face is plastered across screens, every time the body becomes the headline, it plants a seed. Defense means shifting from focus, centering victims, not perpetrators. Let's stop sensationalizing violence. It's hard to do because here in America, America loves violence. We have it in our video games. We have it in our movies. We have it in every area of our life. We have National Geographic stories about it. We sensationalize violence on such a large scale that I don't think we really understand that the damage that it does to the young mind. We glorify guns. We don't hold gun makers accountable. So we have a lot of issues that are here in America that we can deal with. Violence should never be a path to recognition. Part 8, what we can do right now. Let's bring it home. You might be thinking, I'm just one person. What can I do? Here's one thing you can do. Talk to your kids. Realistically, talk to them. Ask schools about a safety plan and mental health resources. Support policies that prioritize prevention, not reaction. Build relationships with the community. Speak up when you feel something is off. Defense is layered, even if layers matter. Part 9, addressing fear without living in it. This is important. Our children should not grow up living in dangerous situations. Defense is not about fear, it's about presence. When kids feel seen, supported, and protected, violence loses power. We owe them more than drills. We owe them more than systems. We owe them more than courage. We owe them more than honesty. If we truly care about defending our children, we must stop these tragedies in their tracks. We must have the difficult conversations. We must protect them. We must be proactive. Safety is intentional. Defense is collective. This isn't about politics. This isn't about lives. This is about coming together and saving the people that we love. If this conversation made you uncomfortable, good. Discomfort is where it comes from. If you're a parent, educator, or community member, your role matters. Thank you for listening. Thank you for caring. And most importantly, thank you for staying with the Racist Podcast. If you have any comments down below, I'd love to hear your ideas. What can we do to help prevent school shootings? Give me some information. What can we do? What are some ideas or things that haven't been talked about? How can we draw people across party lines to see that our children should be protected like our banks, sporting arenas, and things of that nature? We need to have the same level of value and importance that we have for other systems here in America as we do for our children. Hope this message resonated with someone. If you like this podcast, like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I'll see you later. Peace.